simply unaware of the gold that's just sitting in their existing business. There's opportunity cost in their current marketing, sales, customer follow-up and engagement process, but it's invisible to them because they don't scrutinize what they're doing with their marketing, with their sales process, with their existing customers. How do you add more value? How do you add value through partnerships? How do you monetize that value? Because it's invisible to them, the next step to ensure that you both maximize value for the client and for each other is to work out how do you embed your products and services into each other's sales, marketing and sales process.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of More Clients, Less Effort. We're going to take a bit of a pivot today and we're going to talk about referral strategies with the amazing Derek Morgan from ReferIt. Derek, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Tim. Great to be here.
Now, mate, just by way of introduction, you help business coaches, sales trainers, affiliates, partners, consultants using the ReferIt referral marketing formula. It's a whole new way for businesses to achieve high quality lead flow with no ad spend and do it in a way that can generate monthly recurring revenue just from business networking efforts, even if those leads don't refer to clients. We do this by helping, in this case, Derek does this by helping you overcome common challenges such as the uncertainty that comes with working out how to generate leads consistently and at scale, helping you reduce the frustration that comes from having limited marketing budgets and high customer acquisition costs. The referral marketing formula generates more leads and opportunities to grow your business without having to spend money on ads. Now, if you didn't think that was an interesting proposition, you'd be like you're in the wrong spot. Referral marketing, mate. This is probably every time we do surveys and studies on the most effective ways of generating new business, referrals from customers and referrals from strategic partners always top the list by far. And yet, as marketers in the world, we see so much attention on other marketing strategies. And a lot of referrals are great when you get them, but they're super unreliable.
Yeah, and there's some really interesting concepts that you join together there, because referred leads, everyone agrees that they're the best leads. They convert faster, the conversations flow easier, they're less price sensitive. And because they've come typically from your best clients, they're also more fun to deal with. But so in that regard, they're effective. But where referral marketing doesn't become effective is when you don't have a really clear idea of who you're going after, and then the systems, processes, and frameworks to make sure that you're getting those quality referrals consistently. So it's always
Is that a thing that's unique to referrals, or is that just something that I guess affects all marketing? If we're not really clear about who we're going after, it becomes very expensive to find those people.
Yeah, 100%. So message to market, as you know, is critical, right? You've got to have the right message to the right person, and then depending on your product or service, it's actually got to land at the right time. So the old, and I'm just going to paraphrase here some stats, and everybody knows that 93.65% of stats are made up. But the old marketing analogy is 3% of your addressable market is ready to buy right now. 37% is ready to buy in the next 90 to 120 days, or 3 to 6 months, or whatever it is. And then the other 60% are never going to buy from you. Right. So, there's a timing issue in there, but then you've got to make sure that you know who your ideal client is so that you can construct the right marketing message that resonates with them. And then the rest is about follow-up and timing, right?
Yeah. Take me back. How did you get into this space? What was it about A, business in general, and B, referrals the referral framework you've gone, I'm going to not just build a sort of strategy and toolkit around this. I'm actually going to build an app that helps people with referrals.
Yeah. So Mike, I'm the head of affiliates and partnerships for ReferIt. So my role is to help our customers grow through referrals globally or locally, depending on the type of business that you are. But Mike and I have a varied background. So Mike's the founder of ReferIt and the CEO. We've worked together for over 25 years across different industries. So we spent a lot of years in financial services, which is complex consultative sales around abstract products and services. And then we both had brain fades at about the same time, and we got out of financial services as advisors, went and set up our own consulting businesses. And then unbeknown to us, we both had another brain implosion and went out and jumped into the technology industry and started developing application. So we've both worked across financial services, SaaS startup. I've worked in enterprise technology. I've actually run a services business that we tripled over 3 years. Every one of those roles, we never had a marketing budget. Or I tell a lie. In the carpet cleaning business, it was yellow pages with the brick phone. So it was like back in the Stone Age.
Now you're showing your age.
Yeah, and the grey hair. And then in the financial services, it was all through relationships with accountants and other trusted advisors of clients, where it was complementary services. So you're looking for an ideal client through partners who offer complementary services. So you're value adding. But again, no ad budget support in the financial planning. Then went into startup SaaS. Startup SaaS has never got any money. So again, we had to build revenue streams through relationships. And then I went off into enterprise sales, and with a firm that was purchased by a VC, had acquisition as a scale-up strategy. So they were spending a lot of money, like most MSPs do, on generic advertising that doesn't differentiate them from anyone else in the market. So we were never getting sales qualified leads. We had to go and hunt and catch our own through our network, had to go and build our own opportunities and build our own pipeline. So that's the sort of background. And then over time, we've just observed where through our networking, we've brought partners together to create massive opportunities, only to see nothing happen because the partners that we introduced to each other didn't have the systems, processes, and frameworks to do the follow-up and the next conversation, the next steps to the point of actually collaborating around a client and getting a deal. So I guess
it is very much like dating in many ways, like referral partnerships. We go and have a date and we go, oh, you look quite nice, or you sound interesting, and we've had a great old time and a great chat. If we don't arrange the second date, in 6 months' time, you've got a name and a phone number in your phone, and like, I don't know who that person is anymore.
Yeah.
And the relationship's not there. So we actually, and certainly in my experience, if we don't build a structure around continuing to build a relationship with a referral partner, we get no referrals.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, right? If we don't build a relationship, we won't get a referral.
Yeah. And it's a really, really good and powerful observation. So when you're looking for a partner, you need to be really hyper-focused. So we've got a formula and a framework that gives you a step-by-step, follow the bouncy ball process for you to go and DIY and build your own partnership strategy, frameworks, and then go and implement with whatever technology you choose to use. Then if you want a done with you service, we have technology to help streamline and smooth out the process. But the challenge is having right at the front end, having that strategy, framework, and process very clear in your business so that your team can go and execute on it, forgetting the technology, whatever that is. A dramatic demonstration of that falling apart despite everybody's best intentions. I used to work for a technology business. I used to work as a fractional business development guy for technology partners. So I used to bring partners together. So I got this technology partner got a consultant into their boardroom, had 7 people sitting around the table. Yes, you are my perfect partner. Yes, you're my perfect partner. Right, let's go and do deals together. So I left them to go and do that. 2 years later, I actually came into that technology business as a paid employee, jumped into the CRM, found the consultant, went, nothing's happened in 2 years. Went and had 2 coffees with the guy, got into 2 tenders, won both tenders, picked up $11 million in contracts within that 6-month period. So if you reverse engineer the math, failure to follow up with those people that identified that there was great opportunity and good synergy, failure to follow up cost that business $42 million.
It's a reasonable sum of cash to think that you've left that on the table just because you haven't followed up that relationship.
It's identifiable opportunity cost. One of the biggest challenges that we see for most businesses is there's opportunity cost in their current marketing, sales, customer follow-up and engagement process, but it's invisible to them because they don't scrutinize what they're doing with their marketing, with their sales process, with their existing customers. How do you add more value? How do you add value through partnerships? How do you monetize that value? Because it's invisible to them, they're simply unaware of the gold that's just sitting in their existing business. So that's at a business owner's level. If we take that up to a partner conversation, circling back to relationship dating and follow-up, once you've established that you are good partners for each other, you've got a common identifiable client, ICP, or ideal client, profile's the same, you're complementary, the next step to ensure that you both maximize value for the client and for each other is to work out how do you embed your products and services into each other's sales, marketing and sales process. So where's the synergy there, so that you know that every time your partner goes to market, you're being represented, and every time you go to market, your partner's being represented, or there's value.
Yeah, it's a real common one, particularly in the sort of technology space where you've got products and services being sold. Right? So those of our listeners who are in tech or have worked in tech at some point, you have companies constantly selling someone else's solution. Right?
Yeah.
I came from the tech space myself, and Cisco sold it to us, and then we sold it to our clients.
Yeah.
And then we added on services on top. It wasn't Optus, Singtel, or HP suddenly sort of producing routers and switching infrastructure, selling other people's gear. And it became part of our solution. And of course, they had sales reps who were constantly channel managing and being partners.
Looking to add value.
You're absolutely right. It's one of those really key things that people miss in referral partnership. It's not just a case of connect with anybody and say, hey, you should refer me. We've got to have relationships with the right people who have the right size customers and the right customers for us as well, where we're providing a synergistic solution, building a relationship with that person, educating them on how to recognize an opportunity for us, and then how to introduce us to that opportunity. And if we get that right, then we're in a pretty good space.
Yeah. And you've just identified two of the four biggest problems, or three of the four biggest problems in the whole referral process generally. So all those business owners and sales executives that are going out into the marketplace and doing this breakfast, lunch, and dinner in-person networking, and then all these online networking events, and then they're in social media, and then they're going to expos and industry events. They don't have a common process because in somebody else's marketplace, siloing data over there and dealing with 4, 5, or 6 different engagement processes because someone else owns the market. It's somebody else's agenda. So how do you create your strategy and drive your agenda in a collaborative way? And then when you're taking your dating analogy, you want to be the first person to impress, right? So if you're bringing up a partnership conversation with somebody, how do you lead with value so that you speed up that know, like, and trust process? So that would be an outbound strategy. And then when you've got the right referral partners actually bringing partner introductions to you, that time frame compresses dramatically because the level of trust from a partner introduction to another partner goes up a whole other level. Right? So your speed of engagement is lightning fast.
Yeah, it almost, in many ways, it actually speeds up the sales life cycle, doesn't it? Not slows it down.
100%.
I know it seems sort of counterintuitive to think I'm going to go and develop a partner relationship first and invest 6 months into that. But overall, your speed of growth actually becomes a lot faster because the leads that are coming through to you from that channel are either pre-sold, or
the trust levels are sky high already before you have the first conversation.
I mean, I was just thinking this week of working with a new client in Victoria, and I've actually, as part of my solution, I've actually bundled one of my strategic partners' products into my solution and sold it for them already. I literally just called her up and said, I sold some stuff. Can you send me an invoice for this? She's like, what? You mean I don't have to go through the sales process? And that's a perfect example of it, right? Because we've got very synergistic service offerings. I can sell her stuff and she can sell mine as a bundle. And the outcome for the client is a lot better. They don't have to we're actually making our client's job easier by doing.
Yeah. And mate, that is such a powerful point that I want to really anchor on that, because it's such a massive missed opportunity in most businesses, right? They're out there running around selling their core product as they should be. And then they're out there chasing cold inbound, which they should be. And then they're doing a whole bunch of outbound activity, which they should be, but what they're not thinking of, the big lever in the process is two things. How do I actually make sure that I've got a referral process in every step of the funnel, right? So that I'm leveraging that traffic I'm creating in multiple different ways. And then back to your point around other people's products, if you've got something that's productizable that you can get somebody else to sell, then your partner's client network just becomes a red hot lead funnel for you. And likewise, your client base is consuming a whole lot of products and services that may be related to your core offering that you don't offer. Go find a partner that can collaborate, send business their way, generate some revenue. Then you don't have to build the product. You don't have to service the product. You don't have to support the product. So it's all margin as a byproduct of what you're doing with your existing clients. And it builds a big moat around it, because if somebody else offering your core product has a whole bunch of other services, they might get into your client through one of those other services and then trying to attack your core offering.
Let's pull one out, and I want to sort of dissect this one to see if we can kind of learn some lessons that could apply to other, perhaps less traditional spaces. And let's go with Microsoft 365 as a bundle suite, or your Google suite of products, right? Now, Google and Microsoft create these things. There is probably not an MSP, so we're talking about managed service provider here, who provides your IT infrastructure in your workplace, and that doesn't resell Microsoft products. There's probably a few, but there's not that many.
Well, and if they're not reselling, they're crazy.
Okay. So what are Microsoft doing with their channel partners that we can take and apply to our plumbing business or to our accounting firm? I mean, even your accounting firm, right, and your bookkeeper, they're kind of reselling Xero and MyOb and QuickBooks and everything, right, to you as the end consumer, and basically saying you should use this, you need to use this product. What can we learn from those things that we can apply in other ways to our sort of small to medium business?
Which trade and or service would you like to go with?
Let's pick one. Let's pick one at random here. Let's go with, I mean, even hairdressers do it, right? You go into a hairdresser. Yeah, well, not that I go into the hairdresser very often anymore, but a hairdresser will kind of recommend certain products from their suppliers.
Well, let's go to a tradie, right?
Let's go with the tradie.
Let's go with your plumber, right? Joe the plumber. I think he was famous at one point in the US. Yeah, Joe. But so a plumber they have very much a break fix type business on average, right? So let's just assume that we're going with the average residential plumber that gets his leads from whatever digital Google advertising or whatever he's doing, and his business networking, etc. But he's got a very niche profession, but he's going into a home where there's been a problem. He fixes it. What can he do to create some sort of continuity plan to make sure he's coming back? And what's his next? So he's already at that client. They've already got a happy client. What process does he have in place to audit all the other problems that he could come back and fix now that he's solved that initial emergency? That'd be my first question. Then having a chat with that homeowner. What are they doing? Do they need an electrician? Do they need a builder? Anything that's in trade services, it's just like, hey, you know what? I've got a whole network of professionals that I surround myself with, because what's the biggest problem? I'm ad-libbing it and role-playing here. So what's the biggest problem, Mr. Client? Tim, when you're looking to fix up your house or do a reno or an extension, getting a good quality tradie that turns up and does it at the right price and leaves you with a good job.
Yeah, and doesn't necessarily lead me to coordinate everything because I don't know the answers.
Yeah, but
I think you pick up a really good point there with those channel partners. If we think about those networks that are kind of really, really natural. I had another one recently where I had my air conditioning fixed, and the air conditioning tech came out and took a look and said, nothing I can do here. It's actually not a problem. We need to fix up the electrical switch. He referred me to a mate of his who came and fixed it. And the grand cost was like $220 for the call out fee. So it was actually really, really simple process to actually go, well, hang on, it's not me, it's that person. And I can provide a better service by referring the right trade, not just thinking that I can do it myself. And it's almost sitting in our lane and actually providing the I think
Yeah.
it actually occurs to me as you say that we need to look at what is the bigger outcome we provide to a client. And if we can find referral partners or strategic partners who work in a complementary way to also provide that they can almost do the sales work for us, whether referred or sales. So for me in the sort of automation AI systemization space, one of the solutions we solve is how do we fill the holes in your sales pipeline so you can convert more leads, get more organized. A business coach could quite easily bundle my service as part of their service offering.
Yeah.
In the same way, they could also bundle your service as part of that service offering as well.
100%. But it's also the little things, like coming back to your air conditioning guy that couldn't fix that problem for you, but introduce you to somebody else. I had the complete flip side of that, in that we got our air conditioners serviced. My wife had to go through and find Google's emails to find a contact detail for the person we used last, because we had nothing left with us the previous time. So she went to that effort. The guy turns up. He turns up 5 minutes early. He's really well presented for a tradie, like not over the top, just really clean. Nice guy, 5 kids, great conversationalist. Love the guy. I'm sitting in my office. He's working. He's walking past. Just give me an update on what he's doing, why he's doing it, how he's doing it. And I went, I'm going to refer this guy. So I walked downstairs with my phone and walked out to his car. I was going to take a photo and throw it on LinkedIn and give him a plug. No sign writing. I went, interesting. I'm going to watch how this unfolds. I go back in and I follow him out. I go, you finished? He goes, yeah. I said, you haven't left anything? No, we don't. Okay. How do we pay you? Oh, someone will send you an invoice from head office. Okay. So I followed him out to the car. I said, you got a business card? Nope. You got any fridge magnets? Nope. Have you got anything you're going to stuff in the letterbox? Because I'm in a complex of 300 units.
Nope.
Nope. I've got these brochures. I used to have a apprentice with me who used to stuff these in the letterbox, but I don't have an apprentice anymore. And the boss bought me a new car, but we'd been too busy to sign write it. And I've just gone like, massive missed opportunities. So how do you get, if you're in a service business and you call into houses, how do you set up a simple system that every single time you leave something with the client that they can give to the neighbors, and or you leave something on the neighbor's door, a door hanger, a flyer, a fridge mate, whatever. There's so many things that you could be doing to leverage the time and location that you're already in, whether it's physical, whether it's networking events, whether it's online networking, whether it's LinkedIn. Like, what are the things that make sense for your business that creates that next step for you? Back to your point, follow up.
Yeah. Let's go into the system here. How do we build a system that gives us more dependability around the referral process?
It's like everything. There's certain principles that are undeniable that work. Then you need a strategy you need to implement a strategy that works for you and your industry. Then you need a set of tactics that you execute on consistently. And those tactics will change over time, depending on if you're in the digital marketing world, they change every 5 minutes. But those tactics will change. But the principles and strategies, if they're sound, then they don't change over time. It's just a tactical execution of it. Then it comes down to actually making sure that your people are motivated. If you're an employer and you're running sales teams or whatever, your people are motivated to execute. So it's the carrot, and you've got some KPIs in place, which is the stick. But that's all well and good. But if you've got a crap system in place, people get frustrated with it and stop using it. So you need simple tactics and simple systems that people can execute on consistently, and or you do as much as you can through technology, but it always comes down to people, right? At the end of the day. So get a strategy, build the tactics, execute consistently, and then iterate as you find what's working more effectively. Pare down and focus on what's your biggest lever, what's getting you the biggest results. Do more of that, and try not to get distracted with all the noise out there, which is what's the next new shiny
thing
that you have to spend thousands of dollars to implement and thousands of dollars in ad spend. I've got no problem with that. You should be doing that, but make sure that your funnel and systems convert before you go thinking that spending ad money is the answer. Because if you don't have the right traffic and you don't have the right execution, doesn't matter how much you spend on ads, you're not going to get the result you're after.
Yeah, true. I want to pull out a couple of things in your model there. We've got a couple of, it's a little bit blurry for me, but we'll go with what I can read. So we've got ICP, ISP.
Let me give you a version so that you can see rather than the little one.
There we go. Okay, so IRP, IAP, and what is it? ICOL. Talk me through those ones. Well, actually, talk me through this model.
So we see that there's four pillars or four critical areas of creating a referral marketing system that works and converts, right? So at the center of that, it's who are your ideal profiles? And we see that there's four ideal profiles, and it all starts because we've got ICP at the top of the image that you can see. So maybe we can drop this into a description or whatever. We'll link to it somewhere along the line. But if you don't know and can't clearly articulate who your ideal client is, you can't go and find partners that can give you lots of referrals because they have the same ideal client.
Okay, so ICP, ideal client profile. And I think that goes without saying. If you start to partner with people who don't have your customer, it's going to be a really long pipeline. You're going to be pretty disappointed in the process.
Well, the interesting thing, Tim, is you are right. It's pretty obvious you should have an ideal profile, an ideal customer profile, and you should niche. Now, there's so much out in the marketplace, so many people talking about that. But in the business networking that I do, both online and offline, the number of business owners that struggle to actually give you an elevator pitch that makes sense, that you go, oh yeah, I know what you do. I know what the value proposition is for your ideal client. And then I now have, after a conversation with you, a message that I could actually go and pass on to somebody as part of a referral process. Most people I speak to don't have a decent elevator pitch, full stop, right? It's very waffly. It's very generic. I work with everybody because I do XYZ. Well, that may be true. You might have lots of industries and verticals you can serve, but when it comes to having a conversation with the marketplace, your marketing, your networking, you need to focus on one, two, or three different profiles. And I typically say to start with one and then basically have three partner related and partner centric. So they then become interchangeable depending on the audience that you're talking to. So you just have these stock standard elevator pitches that resonate and drive engagement. That's what most people are missing when they're going out and doing in-person or online networking. That's why you don't get that follow-up.
Okay, so IRP, let's go next. I presume I'm going to
ideal referral partner.
Ideal referral partner.
Yep. And so when your clients refer, clients are not natural referrers. Some will, right? Some people are intuitively, they're like that. They're wired that way. Most aren't. So clients will typically, if they refer at all, it'll be ad hoc. It's not consistent, and they'll do onesies and twosies here and there. But once you're clear on who your ideal client is, then you can go and find who lives in that ideal client's ecosystem. And then that starts to inform you who's the client surrounding themselves with. That starts to inform you of who your potential referral partners are. Go and have a chat to them. Set up a smooth, easy, non-confrontational process that you're comfortable with, that you can actually go and do a little bit of research. LinkedIn makes it easy. Go and do a little bit of research, or just go and have a coffee or a beer with them. Find out where they go to network, find out who they associate with, find out what industry events they attend, and then see if you can get a name or an introduction or a referral to a supplier.
Yeah, it's an interesting one when you sort of start to look at that and just sort of ask through that framework. We also got to understand what marketing activities that they do. So when we identify an ideal referral partner, if they are not doing any marketing activities of their own, like they're not running events or they're not pushing out emails and stuff like that, they don't really have the same opportunity to promote you. So if you go in and say, hey, we should run a joint event, and they've never run an event before, it's not really going to be in their wheelhouse, and it's probably not necessarily going to get you the results from.
Potentially not, but there's different ways to open up that conversation. There's different ways to add value to that person. And this is why it's really important for you to build out a diversified referral partner network. So if we go back to Joe the plumber, yeah, he's got all the obvious ones of trades people. That's customer facing. From a partner perspective, like, well, let's go from, okay, that's domestic, creating leads for other people and cross-selling other services. If we take this scenario into a business analogy, as a person who's using networking and referral marketing strategies, which is different to just getting referrals, right? There's a big gap between the two. Using referral marketing strategies to engage potential partners to add value to clients, every business owner that's actively out networking now should have what I refer to as t-shirt size suppliers in the 5 core areas that every business uses: marketing, sales, delivery, operations, and finance. Because when you're going in to have a conversation with a business client, you might have a solution, but it's like 5 layers down on their priority list. So you're not getting a deal from this guy anytime soon, but they're an ideal client or they're an ideal partner, but they've got other priorities. How do you stay of value to that person? How do you have an engagement with them over a longer period of time? Solve other problems for them through your partner network. You then become their trusted advisor. Where are they going when they need something? They're coming back to you. And particularly in the business coaching and technology space, they're really complex processes, sales cycles, and delivery, potential delivery. So, one of the conversations I had with an MSP owner way back when, I go, okay, so you're signing 36-month contracts. If you have a conversation with somebody there's an incumbent provider and they've just re-signed, and or next time they go to market, they're going to tender, you're not getting this, they're not just signing a contract with you, you have to go through an RFP process. How are you going to engage that person for the next 24 months before they go into a buying cycle?
I think that MSP is an interesting one, because I think particularly with longer cycles, you've really only got 4 to 6 weeks worth of buying window before they've made a decision to either continue with the incumbent provider or go back to market and engage with a new provider. In which case, after that 4 to 6 weeks, they're already in conversations about implementation, not back in buying cycle. So if you've got a 1 week, like a 1 month in 3 year buying window, you've got to really think longer term about how do you remain top of mind. So when that 1 month window pops up, you're in the mix.
And it's not just top of mind. It's like, how do you become more valuable to them outside of the product? Right? Because if we use technology and managed service providers or MSPs as an analogy, and you could probably do this with most businesses, but MSPs and technology is a really easy one because they're all selling security. One's got one's selling black cybersecurity and the other one's selling a white version of the black one. So in the client's mind is, well, I've already got one of those, I don't need another one, right? So you're hair splitting around that particular product or service. So if you can't get that in, what are all the other things you could be doing that is going to get you that land and expand opportunity? And if you don't have the product in your own product stack, how do you partner with somebody so that you can solve that problem for them if it comes up? And again, you've added value beyond product. And that's where you really build relationships and networks. And that trusted advisor scenario kicks in where you get more referrals.
Yeah, I love that. Let's go to the other two before we wrap the show up. IP real quick.
Ideal affiliate partner.
Okay, so same thing, basically.
Same thing we talked about before. Who has complementary products that you can sell because your clients need them and you're adding value, and clients already got a trusted relationship with you. They'd rather buy that from you than somebody else, and they're going to buy it anyway. So you may as well sell it to them and get a commission.
And lastly, ICOI.
ICOI, ideal center of influence. Now, an ideal center of influence could be your local chamber president. It could be your local member. It could be any other local network leader. It could be a local accountant who's influential in your community. If you're a small localized business, you can take that strategy and expand it out for regional. And once you get beyond regional, it's then, well, hang on, your clients are dealing with a whole lot of people online, a lot of influencers, industry bodies. Where are they going to get information? Where are they going to associate with other businesses? Because somebody owns that network. And if you can add value to that someone, then you can get a message out to a large audience. It's exactly what we're doing here, Tim. You have an audience. I have some IP, which is hopefully of value to that audience. You are helping me get a message out, and in that process, adding value to your audience.
Well, there we go. Yeah, I've never been called a center of influence before, Derek, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I would go as far as to say epicenter of influence.
Epicenter of influence. Oh, here we go. Turn it up.
Yeah,
I think it's a really important thing that you raise here. And when we look at a coherent sort of multi-channel marketing approach or growth strategy, we need to know what we're known for, obviously, and understand who our profile is and who we're going to work with. I have a model that I call open, right? And there's 4 different sort of key channels that you can bring opportunities to the table. One of them is organic. right? So that's that's the sign writing on your car, that's your
Yep.
t-shirt, that's your social media sort of stuff. And it takes time to build up, but you're in the market. And that's why Coca-Cola spend sort of $5.5 billion a year, because they want to be visible everywhere. Next one's paid, right? TV, radio, print, social media, Google ads, whatever. Okay. It's on and then it's off. Your expert strategy, which is things like this podcast, right? It's your book, it's your TV show or your radio presence, or it's whatever you're putting yourself in, standing on stage, either yours or somebody else's.
Yep.
Okay? And we know people in the market, in your market, who do those sorts of things as well. So I know Tony Robbins has got something coming up next week as well. Okay? So the people like that are known, right? They have a big expert platform. And the last one that we've been talking about so much of is your network, right? It's your network of clients and it's a network of partners to push our message through what it is we do to effectively the rest of our funnel. If we just think about that as a traffic light system, right? If you're not doing any organic, you're not running paid, right? Maybe you blog occasionally, right, about your expertise, and you don't have a really strong coherent partner strategy or referral strategy in place for your customers. All of those traffic lights are either orange or red. And if you're wondering why your business isn't growing, it's because you're not actually bringing people in on a consistent basis.
Yeah. And some businesses will really struggle at some of that more scalable marketing models, either because of cost or complexity or whatever. But those businesses are actively out in the communities, either online or offline, networking, and they're doing a lot of activity, but potentially not getting the results. So this is where that networking aspect feeds into every stage, but for smaller businesses, getting that networking piece right, they're already spending that time and money going out to breakfast, lunches, and dinners or online. How do you put in place some simple strategies and tactics and processes to make sure that you get the maximum value out of that effort?
Yeah. Mate, let's look to wrap things up real quick. I'm going to throw a bunch of questions and see how you cope with these. Fiery death awaits you. Would you rather fall from a plane without a parachute, get eaten by a shark, or die in a spectacular car crash?
Oh, that three great options. I'm going to go with the shark, because if I'm falling from a plane, I'm sitting there sweating about what's coming at me. Fiery death, again, I'm seeing it coming. Shark, I'm blissfully having a swim, enjoying myself, and then I'm not here anymore. I'm going the shark.
If you won $10 million
Yes.
tomorrow in the lottery, what would you spend it on?
I would spend it on a house, travel, and philanthropy.
Love it.
Throw a bit into the business as well. But yeah, I wouldn't retire.
Yeah. If you can think of one really influential book that's impacted you and your thinking, what would it be?
It'd be a combination of two books. Expert Secrets, they're both by Russell Brunson. Expert Secrets, about how to have a conversation in the marketplace, and .com Secrets is how to then execute on that and create processes or funnels, if you're familiar with that technology, but more importantly, making them so that they convert and you've got metrics and visibility around it. But it all comes down to communication and talking to the right clients, both of those, and just then how do you do it?
Yeah. What do you wish people knew about referrals that they typically don't?
More is less. Sorry, back to front. Less is more, right? So we are in this shiny ball moment in time where we've just gone through decades of scale marketing, and now AI's come along and everybody can. Copywriting used to be the differentiator. If you could write good copy, then you got cut through, right? Provided you had an ICP. Now, copywriting has become a commodity. AI can spew that out in volume. AI can spew a lot of stuff out in volume. So now overwhelms the biggest problem. So getting people to go, okay, for the activity that I'm doing, what are the things that I need to do more of, and focus less on the next shiny trend, like the things that are working for you now, double down on them. Yeah, you still need to experiment and you need to innovate with your engagement. But I think at the moment, people try to do too much in too many places, and therefore they're spread too thin and they're overwhelmed.
I'm going to pivot this question from what I normally ask. And it is now, what would your 18-year-old self think about what you're doing now?
My 18-year-old self would be super excited about it. And he would be calling me out for why the hell did it take me so long to do it.
That's often the case with entrepreneurship, isn't it? It's like, what's taking you so long?
Yeah, well, like you knew all this stuff at 21, and you're only really starting to execute it in your 40s and 50s. Like, what'd you do with the previous 20 years? Brought you up. But anyway, whatever.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Favorite subject in school was probably math. Not that I was particularly focused on it or particularly good at it, but it resonated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one initiative on your whiteboard that wasn't there on the 1st of January this year?
Nothing. If you've changed your goals this early in, you haven't even executed on the ones that you had at the 1st of January. Like, biggest problem, set goals 1st of January. Actually, second biggest problem. Second biggest problem, you set the goals. Third biggest problem, 3 weeks in, you haven't even executed on them. You've forgotten about them. You're not doing the stuff that you set out to do in the first place. First biggest problem is didn't set the goals in the first place. So I was in a networking meeting with eight people, me being one of them. So there's 7 of them there. I asked the question, what's your big goal for 2025 that either I can help you directly or introduce you to somebody in my network that can help you achieve that goal? 5 of the 7 people could not articulate anything because they hadn't set a 2025 goal.
Okay, that's pretty common. It's pretty common. Hopefully you don't get to the end of 2025 and not having set a goal that you can hold yourself accountable to. One last one, mate. If you had a question of me, what would it be?
What would help you move the needle in 2025? Because this is going out to a lot of people and you've got a big network out there, and there might be somebody in your network that can help you. So in relation to what you want to achieve over the next 12 months, what's your biggest challenge that you need to overcome?
Mine. That's a great question. Plenty of challenges. Selling my house is one of them, but it's underway already. By the time this episode comes out, I may have moved for the first time in 12 years. So that'll be exciting. I think I'm particularly excited, speaking of goals, I'm particularly excited about a new business partnership, actually, in the frame of strategic partners. I've joined up with a good friend of mine and client to launch a new business into the insurance sector. And so we're providing a lot of the stuff that I do around helping clients systemize and grow their business with her expertise in the insurance sector. So we would love to have a chat with you about how we can help you grow your business.
So life insurance, general insurance, or both?
Insurance.
Sorry?
General insurance.
General insurance.
Look at us getting specific about our ideal customer profile. So yes, if you've got lots of insurance brokerages clients, we want to hear from you.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, let me put my thinking hat on and I'll use the ReferIt app to send you a referral, my friend.
Sounds good, mate. Sounds good. Speaking of which, you will be able to find details of the ReferIt app and Derek's program in the show notes somewhere on this page or wherever you're listening to this recording in your favorite app. Derek, mate, thanks for jumping on and sharing some of your strategies around how you've built a fantastic referral-based business.
Thanks for creating the space and the time, Tim. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And guys, if you've enjoyed today's show, please like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff that helps us get the message out there to other people looking to systemize and grow their business, create more wealth and impact from what it is that they do. That's it for this week. We'll catch you again real soon.
Thanks, Tim.